Hey, and welcome to a brand new edition of the Fans of Power podcast. I'm Tyler Baker, and rounding out the roundtable as always is Nasty Nate Kennedy and the Rotten Amato, Joe Amato. Gentlemen,
Yes.
are we doing all right this wonderful, calm, cool, tickly day in Virginia? Or at least for me, Nathan.
Calm and cool. Dude, it was hot as shit outside.
I'm quoting Jaws the Revenge. That's what I'm doing there. Now, there's a quote for you, Zentron.
Well, I went and mowed the yard, and I was like sweating my balls off the whole time. So,
no, it was a wonderful one. I'm just quoting a lot.
I know you are, but I have to call you out on it because everyone's gonna be like, "What? Who? Oh yeah, that Jaws sequel." Nah, that's what most people do. I like it too.
A lot more memorable. Yes, you know. I intend to start a revolution for certain films, not to turn the world and say it's a masterpiece. That's not never the case with this.
Where's my bucket?
Yeah, well, you said you just like Jaws 4. Joe, I think we'll make Joe a believer out of it at some point as well. Even though he laughed at it when he watched it and he was like, voodoo was involved in it.
There was a little bit that had me question it, but no, it was still fine. It was good. Yeah, because I think I only remember really seeing one years ago, and then part 3 in the theaters, which I just completely forgot about. It just wasn't memorable, but so I had to go back and see the other ones, then at least get them into my head.
And that's what I like about this is that we managed to work in Jaws sequels into a He-Man podcast. Again, we continue to break new ground every single week. We're always going to give you something that you never expect to hear on this podcast. And talking the Jaws sequels and a He-Man podcast, by God, we're breaking new ground tonight again. And we were just we're setting records, whether you like it or not, or you give a shit or not. We are constantly giving you something that you've never experienced on a He-Man podcast.
We at least try, and I don't think I should be sweating like last week. I have the window cracked. I don't need a fan right now because, well, it's been kind of cool out there, raining. And what
Did you get
is
an oscillating fan, Joe?
No, I did not. They didn't have one at Dollar Tree.
I'm sure he just walked past somewhere and there was like some old box fan just sitting against the building. He's like, that'll do.
I would have loved it. But what I did was I took a pin and I popped these little teeny microscopic pinholes all into my mask, so they're not visible, but it's ventilated. So
were you still wearing the mask when you did it?
Could you imagine? Like, hey, I'm going to poke it right now, and then boom, boom, boom.
Acupuncture with Joe Amato.
Right, but I'm going to say hello to everybody in the chat room, and of course we're getting all your questions. It's a big fan question episode or Q&A episode, but of course we have a main topic we'll talk about as well with a reveal. But let me try to get everybody. If I miss somebody, I apologize, and we always have Nathan to get my back, and that's why I'm going to hit that live chat button now because that's the thing that I always screw up with. We had Zentron, we had Febmon, Jobber DG. Let me get down a little bit more. Zen Brown. So let's go on Grimbots here. It was Ryan. See, notice I just said Ryan. Patrick O'Keefe. I didn't want to butcher Ryan's and everything. Papa Huds 69. Tags Media and Animation. And Wiley Walt. And I think that might be everybody that's at least said something. So I tried to get all you guys. But well, we might as well get to the first reveal. The first thing. It's the reveal of that San Diego Comic-Con 2-pack of He-Man, Prince Adam, in vintage 5.5-inch form. And it's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. It's supposed to be $40. So I'm sure people that go to the show, that's great. They might have some leftover, maybe. They said if they have leftovers, they'll try to put it on Mattel's site a couple days afterwards. But it's vintage style, but it has more articulation. So it has at the elbows, the knees, wrists. They have interchangeable too. They have interchangeable hands, something that's never been done. Now, the thing is, almost everywhere I went to, people were freaking out and in love with them. I mean, I know I am, because what's funny is when Classics came out, people, of course, loved it, but then there's a lot of the vintage fans, as you know, in all these groups. There's some people that are just so hardcore vintage. They're like, I don't want Classics. They said we should, I'd like to get more vintage figures. And then when they released some vintage style figures like Super 7 or any, when they would do stuff, there's fans that said, I don't like them. There's not enough articulation. So in a way, it's kind of given the best of both worlds, because I know you're never going to please both sides. But
no,
for me,
just that alone, someone who's a Classics aficionado and looks at vintage is like, it's just not articulated. It just kind of feel like, who the hell are you?
There's, that's the thing. In the fandom, I'll be honest, I never really collected much figures besides, like I said, back in the day when He-Man was out, And then after that, I went to video games and girls and other things. I really wasn't into figures. So I didn't get to experience all the lines like a lot of the Marvel and DC stuff where they have all these like 30 points of articulation.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily the point, though. Like, if you're doing anything that's a retro action figure feel, typically 80s or late 70s, the articulation was bare minimum. We're
limited.
talking maybe 5 points at most. So for anyone to come along and, I mean, come on, unless you clearly have you're a toy fan and have never done your research in like just toys in general. And I'm not saying like saw on every toy line that was made in the last 30, 40 years, but you're not a student of the game in terms of like, what toys have come before your favorite ones, what was popular, what wasn't, the advancements in articulation and things like that. I just kind of feel like you really are clueless as a toy fan to look at, a vintage style figure and just turn your nose up at it as if like Joe found it in the dumpster and like, isn't this great? Oh man, it's garbage. Put that shit back in there,
No, what's weird is, anything anybody likes, that's fine. But when I seen it sometimes where, you're right, when I would make a post of the vintage figures and people, even the Masters fans, some of them said, I've gotten so used to the classics and all the articulation. I love the design. They said, I don't feel like looking back towards the 80s. And again, that's their prerogative. But I love and embrace, just everything I can, whatever I can afford, which I haven't been able to afford much lately. But these things, it was just like gold to me. I was like, this is such a damn genius move. You're taking those vintage figures, you're giving them, and hell, they're even kind of one up in classics, in my opinion, to some extent, meaning the interchangeable hands. I don't know if this is going to be for every single set of figures they release, but just know that wasn't an option for classics. Can you do that when you heat it up with a blow dryer? Sure. But for these, that's a hell of a cool option. So now you can kind of get your vintage figure doing the pulling back for the sword in a pose. I love it. And what's cool is Eric Mays, one of the Four Horsemen, he jumped into my post when I did that. And he said, if you think those are awesome, just wait until you see what we've got planned for the rest of the line. I'm like, oh shit, wait a second. That means we're getting more of this goodness. And he went in a little bit of a detail, and that's what I wanted to read. He wanted to talk about that. I guess they planned, or if I'm not mistaken, he kind of described it like when they created for the other figures, the designs of the articulation, it was slightly different, not more, because I thought he meant more points of articulation. He just said it was different. And he doesn't know if the rest of the figures that they're doing will be done like these two, Adam and He-Man, because I guess they said that the Four Horsemen did not do Prince Adam and He-Man, for those that were wondering. But all these other ones that are, supposed to be coming, they've done. So he said they're not sure, though, what the final design will be like that. Will they be just like these? Or maybe will Mattel have incorporated the different ways they articulate? So I got super excited, but I'd love to hear Nathan's opinion and of course yours, Tyler. But and $40, again, I know this is San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, but when you put it into perspective is, okay, if these are going to be individual figures, makes you think these could possibly, I'm hoping, possibly be $14.99 to $19. I don't know if this is retail also, or if it's just going to be online. And of course, that amazing art that was done for that box set. Axel Jimenez, our buddy, he did the line art for all that. And I know there was other artists that worked on with coloring and inking. I apologize, I don't know who they are. But there was many people involved with that box art, which is beautiful. But I'll pass it to you guys.
I messaged Tyler and I was like, am I kind of missing something here? Like, I get the articulation aspect of it, but at the same time, I'm like, and I've already seen it in the chat. Most a handful of people are like, I'm not gonna just dive in and just start collecting another line of these things again.
Sure, it's hard. Oh, definitely, yeah.
And I think the bigger question is, this means after Snake Mountain, Super 7 is essentially out and Mattel's jumping back in. Is that kind of the vibe that I'm getting out of this?
Well, again, that's a thing that some people, which are going to be some of the questions that we'll kind of address as well. And by the way, T-Dog and Jason Johnston, thank you for joining us. But some people are wondering, does this mean this is the end of Super 7 doing it? Because they showed the PowerCon figures. And I know last time when Tal and I, when we had Val on, we said, well, are those going to be produced through Mattel or Super 7? At that time, I think he said he wasn't quite sure, or maybe he wasn't allowed to say. I couldn't remember how that went. But now you've seen that those PowerCon classic figures of that Slime Pit, He-Man, and the others are Mattel that's doing it. And, of course, Mattel is going to be doing these. Of course, we know Super 7 is still delivering Snake Mountain, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we have to wait to San Diego Comic-Con, and I know that there's people that have the inside scoop on stuff. Even if I was to know that, I don't like knowing that information. So I don't know if
Is
you
this
heard
like
anything, Tyler. But
is this like movie trailers to Joe? He's like, I can't see that. I don't want to know.
it's true. It's like I
when are
don't
the figures
want to...
coming out? You know what? I don't want to know that either.
Yeah, so I don't know. Actually, and I don't know if Tyler, if you've heard anything in the stirrings and around, but I don't know if Super 7 will be done with 5.5 inch and 6.5 inch. Maybe they'll just continue with reaction. I'm not sure.
I'd imagine that if Mattel, because we're probably going on our third year of this discussion, of Mattel is trying to get back in the game of dabbling in Masters of the Universe in some form or another. And there's just been kind of this idea that people are like, well, that Mattel's lingering around, but we really can't say anything. Or Mattel's, they're looking to, take part in this, but we really can't say anything. Even back when Brian was on the podcast with us, that Mattel was trying to get back in. And last year they showcased just generic vintage figures, wanting to know if that draws interest. And, obviously this is kind of what they're going for, even though I think they didn't do a very good job of like trying to pique interest when all they're doing is just kind of throwing out some, figures that are just not very original or doesn't really get pique people's interest. Like, what's Mattel doing? What is this about? This did a very lazy job of trying to draw interest. And I'm sure, like, it's He-Man and Adam, again. But the idea and the box, I was intrigued. And believe me, $40 for a con exclusive from San Diego, based on what NECA and others are asking for, $40 is peanuts at this point.
Yeah, and it's two figures. That's what I mean. It's like a hell of a deal, and a collector art box and everything. Yeah.
But I do feel like with Super 7 essentially kind of saying that Snake Mountain has become their big focal point right now, I'd imagine, not that it's true, but with them saying they're going to be tackling Turtles and Toxie, hopefully Toxic Crusaders, the rest of them are coming, and, Voltron and some other things, they might be like, all right, well, Mattel's going to take He-Man back. We need something else, which they go to Playmates, and you get Toxic Crusaders and you get Turtles. If they plan on doing the Turtles and Classics form the same size as He-Man.
And Conan.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, they've got a wide library of characters to do, and they can just keep going and going and going and going with that.
They can definitely make use of that buck. Either way, you're right. Because if Mattel is going to get Masters back for that style buck, then you're right. At least Super 7. Like you said, this is all speculation, but it kind of could make sense that they could go for all these other properties and at least continue with that buck style, but with many different properties.
Yeah, and plus, it kind of makes sense that he said that the person who had the rights to the live action likenesses and the designs would not greenlight it with Mattel being involved. Well, since Super 7 was involved in putting that out, we got them greenlit. Now that Mattel's back in the game, that might be the swan song for Super 7. They gave us movie figures, and they gave us Snake Mountain, and they bow out gracefully and work on Turtles, Voltron, Conan, and who knows what's going to be announced at San Diego. Or they may still be doing something. It's hard to say, but I figure if Mattel is pushing a vintage style or re-releasing their figures with the articulation, I kind of find it hard to believe that Super 7 would continue to keep releasing more and more vintage style, like Filmation, as seen on TV figures kind of thing, if Mattel is going to be doing pretty much the same thing.
Right.
But it's all speculation, just kind of putting together pieces that I've read or things that we're seeing here that's, these guys can't come out and just say, well, here it is. I mean, that's going to be saved for San Diego, which we got maybe about a month to go at this point.
Just a little over a month, yeah. You got to have some kind of, you got to have something to wait for. I mean, you're right.
But and I told Nathan before, like, because me and him, we've been like losing our shit over like NECA stuff here recently, and that they were putting out. But I said, but with Mattel getting back in the game with He-Man and Super 7 announcing way back that they're doing Turtles, I'd imagine there's going to be announcements for Turtle figures. Who knows what else from Super 7. And the Four Horsemen didn't work on these two. So I'm pretty much betting the farm that we will get He-Man figures by the Four Horsemen from Mattel at San Diego this year. I'm hoping at least 6 to 8 figures that the Horsemen have done. And the only thing I didn't like about this release is that I thought the Adam face sculpt was not very good. It felt like it was from something else. The rest of it looked very, very well done. Like they went back and used cloth.
I like the vest. Yeah, I like that vest.
Cloth,
I like that they
did. It looked great, and the He-Man figure looked nice. The box, of course, was like one of the selling points, and Axel worked on it. You're gonna get my money on it for that anyway. But just
I love the knife in the boot too. I love that knife in the boot too. Well,
all those little pieces were nice little additions. But I really hope that Mattel is gonna push forward and stop holding on to 2000X and the variant bullshit. They're smart businessmen like we expect them to be. They ought to know why that didn't work and what can work now. So I have faith that by this point they ought to learn what the mistakes that need to be avoided, and celebrate the hell. I'm just curious with the name like Origins. I'll support it. But one of my biggest gripes with what Super 7 was doing is I hated those face sculpts for those Filmation figures. I didn't think they looked very good at all, and were not really worth justifying buying the same figures over and over again, for me personally. But with this, you kind of feel like, well, Tyler, you were crapping on re-releasing the same figures over and over again. I'm curious to see when they call it Origins. Are we talking concept figures, based on Mark Taylor's illustrations, like a more
the Origins? That's
Skeletor? I'll agree. What is that?
The Origins is an interesting title because, I admit from the get-go when I heard it, I was like, I'm just in my head, I hear X-Men Origins, Resident Evil Origins. I was like, God, there's no oomph behind this. It sounds
that's
so vanilla.
Shitty movies,
Isn't it? No, it is. But I was like, it sounds like there's no impact with it. But you're right. I guess if there's a meaning, but the thing is, it's like, you're right. There's so many meanings. You could think, like you said, Mark Taylor's ideas, the stuff how people say Alcala, but of course a lot of people say, hey, well, Alcala is basically based off of Mark Taylor. But then you could say Texera stuff, you could say Bruce Timm, you could say Larry Houston. It's like, what are all these Origins going to be? But it gets you intrigued, it gets you pumped. I guess the reason I'm most excited, and quickly, Aaron Voorhees and Adam Gabber, thank you for joining us, and Rick Poe popped up, and Cal Red. So a lot of people popping in. So, and we'll get to your questions. Trust me, we got to get some others. But anyways, I guess the reason I was so excited is, like I said, I can't really afford the big expensive figures, and I'm hoping, and I don't know if it is, if these are reasonably priced at under $20, I was like, Joe might actually be able to start buying some figures again. I'd like to get it, but like you said, there are the people that do say, damn, I don't really have room for a whole nother line. I don't want to invest in a whole nother line. But then there's others that say, I would want it. So, if it's something that at least is going to please people, and if there's those that can afford them all and have them displayed in the room, great. And if not, then I know a lot of people like shifting their figures, but this is the first line that's got me excited in a while. And that, I think it's maybe just in my head because of maybe price.
Well, just knowing that the Horsemen are working on a vintage line of He-Man figures like that.
Oh, hell yeah.
That draws, and I think Nathan would be very curious about this as well, too. Even though it's an exclusive, which means they're just throwing this out to pique your interest. It's He-Man and Adam in a nice, 2-pack, the dual identity kind of thing, to kind of sell the articulation. I was genuinely, it really grabbed my attention. Was I losing sleep? I'm like, oh my God, no, but I'm like, this all right. I'm excited to see that what Mattel has up their sleeves. And with the Horseman behind it, I'm not going to question or wonder or I don't know, guys. With those guys on board, as long as I just kind of it's hard for me to believe that it's just strictly going to be when they end this is the figures the Horseman done. It's Skeletor again, it's Beastman again, it's Stratus again, it's Taylor. I like to think that they're going to mix it up, and maybe they will give us an Icer or something like that. Something to kind of or hell,
No, you're right. We could get anything, whether it's from the cartoon or from the comics. Hell, they could even do MYP figures in that vintage style. You never know what they could deliver. Either way, it catches your attention, and it's intriguing. And Juan, who joined us in the chat room, said, once more classics, and it would be great. Oh God, Ocean the Experience has just popped. Wait a second.
Wait, there's Jim
I don't know if that's
look, there's Jack Daniels and.
Real quick, I don't know what that link is for Ocean the Experience, so I don't know if that's spam or anything. So you guys might not want to click it unless he can confirm it's something He-Man. I'm not quite sure, but even then, be careful. I just don't remember if we'd had somebody like that in the chat room before. I'm trying to watch everybody's back. That's all. Nothing against you, Ocean. I just didn't know if that was spam. But yeah, it's like you said, it could be anything.
Just click on it, and it's just like a JPEG of just
porn.
No, just a JPEG of spam, a can of spam.
Oh yeah, what did we create? Like, gotcha.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I mean, they could. Oh wait. Ocean said it's from the MTV. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for confirming that. If he's saying it's from the MTV News, I think that's what was posted today. They showed that Noah Centineo, who could be playing He-Man if the movie does come out in 2021, has buffed up a little bit. So
yeah, I'm already seeing from the picture. He definitely looks a little bit like bigger.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He could get some, like I said, he can get some weight. So we'll see. I'm not judging. I'm not gonna piss all over everything. If he can bulk it up, we'll see what he can do. Anthony Albanese, thank you for joining us, and I'm glad you clarified that, Oshan. I appreciate that. But no, for more classics, I'd hope they could continue that. I'll admit, I did get excited with the thought of Mattel doing this stuff again. Absolutely nothing against Super 7. It's just I haven't bought anything except those glow in the dark ones up there. Those Terror, the Curse of the Three Terror, the Curse of the Three Terror figures. But I've got nothing else, and it's nothing against them. I just didn't have the money.
You didn't get Evil Seed and Shadow Weaver?
No, I no.
You hypocrite.
I didn't have. It's just the money. I didn't have the money. I wanted them.
Shit, man. Like
I wanted them.
They put out, and you just sitting pissing and shitting all over everybody who likes 2000X Evil Seed. You're like, I gotta get it, man. I gotta have it. I spent it on like Coke and Horse, the cheapest kind, and I don't have it anymore. You're
talking to a guy that's trying to get a fan from the Dollar Tree, for God's sakes. I wanted a dollar
you do that
fan
because you're just a cheap man in general. Even if you were like a wealthy, like mob boss uncle in your family leaves you a garbage bag full of $100 bills, you would be the cheapest man on the planet, man. You'd still be visiting the local garbage dumps and the junkyards and whatever. Going to McDonald's and buying the dollar menu. Going to Wendy's getting 99 cents, 4 nuggets in a little box and eating a nugget a day because you're just cheap that way.
Oh Christ! Hey, I mean, if you can save money, but no. So I don't know. I guess I got giddy hearing the thought of Mattel still doing stuff. But like you said, Super 7, if they could carry on with that 6.5-inch buck with their figures. But I'm thinking we're gonna have a really fantastic show coming up next month for San Diego Comic-Con. I can't wait to see what they show. I guess the other thing is, along with seeing the figures, like we talked about, the art, like, will we get some of that cool style art for every card back? I mean, it's great Errol McCarthy did, card art and the designs for some of the Super 7 stuff, but it'd be great if we could still even continue that with this new Origins line, or even if they draw it as an homage to certain artists based off of whatever figure they do. Maybe that could give us the hopes of, picture this, what if they did do a Geldor? Finally, we get Geldor, vintage articulated style, and Larry Houston could do that, fake mini comic cover and do the card back art. I'd be pissing my pants. I mean, picture that. That would be something.
And Joe still wouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
And my ass still wouldn't buy it.
He'd be too cheap to actually buy new pants. He'd just sit in his piss-soaked pants. I'm sorry, it just costs too much money. I just flip them inside out, or put them on backwards.
Christ, I really am cheap. But
there's just a lot of questions with this. Like, how far will it go? Is Mattel coming back solely because the movie's starting to gain momentum and they want it back so they can do more? As you said earlier, will it be online only, or will it actually go out to retail? So there's a lot of stuff. It's exciting, and honestly, it's good for me because finally now I'm smart enough that I'd be like, all right, if this is gonna go for a while, I can start from the beginning, and I don't have to pay crazy eBay prices anymore. Yay!
That would be great, and it would be cool what if they did pop up back in the stores. I mean, that
would be awesome. Yeah. Well, I feel like if you want to get them at the price point, Joe, that you're wanting, I think retail's like, if they go that avenue, that's going to be your best bet to get them cheaper. If it ends up being online only, you're probably not going to get them for the price they want.
Right. I'm thinking that, like I said, they are trying to generate the buzz. I mean, the movie, it sounds like they're really trying to go forward with it, even though I'm that one that always says I still ain't getting excited till it's super, super going to be confirmed. But it seems like something's in the mist, like something's happening. But if it could pop up at stores, it'd be great. I think I could actually afford that. But that's just okay. Well, that's covering that. Now we're gonna get to some of the fan questions first that we had online. Then you guys can start popping them up in the chat room. I'm sure a lot of it might double up with it seems like what we're gonna say. But even some of the questions will probably be that. Go ahead.
Tyler, before we get going, just kind of stand up, show what's on your tank top. It's been asked what was on there.
It's the Earl Norm Cosmic Battle of He-Man and Skeletor.
That is a nice
There we go.
Yeah, it's on Redbubble. If you guys want your there's the guy who posted this also has the Roboto Earl Norm poster that you can put on a t-shirt, baseball tank top, whatever it is. It's available on Redbubble. I forgot how if you just want to search for like Roboto, you might want to pull that up and just click on the guy's, what else he's done. You should be able to find it.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that and the information, and hopefully maybe people could find the help. Maybe we're going to get the link in the in the description eventually for people to click on if they want to find it. But all right. Well, I'll start off I see there's a few more questions here than what was on the other day. Okay.
Yeah, Joe.
First one. Okay, this first one's a little strange, and like I said, you guys
ask anything. It doesn't have to be Masters Universe related either.
This is a little freaky. I mean, I can't even picture you two answering this, even me, because I'll let you know I've never seen this movie. But Ryan Faulkner said, an evil scientist is creating a human centipede formed from you and two Masters of the Universe characters. Who would be the front and back and why? Well, first let me say,
Frost and Glimmer.
There you go.
First let me say,
but you know what? I might throw in Lady Edwina from She Demon of Phantos, but Frost and Glimmer are always going to be probably at the forefront. Maybe Cassius Crowley, because she got that big head of hair. She's hot as hell too. She probably smells really good too. So as long as I'm smack dab in the middle there, I have interchangeable parts for that one, preferably from the planet of Etheria. There are some on Eternia.
Well,
I'm glad that
if I was going to live on the edge, I'd go with Chakotay, man, because those fangs she's got.
Well, I'm glad that we're starting it off this way. There's no other way to start the Q&A portion of the podcast.
It just lets people know. Well, I'm not afraid to tackle anything. Joe, on the other hand, Nathan,
Well, just quickly, the Human Centipede. I don't know if he's making reference to that damn sick movie that I've never watched.
Reference to?
Yeah, I've never watched that movie. I've heard.
Neither have I.
I just heard the. Yeah, I was like, that's a sick ass. That is sick for somebody to make a movie like that. But I would hope that maybe, let's say, let's hope that Lookie, I don't know, rainbow candy or something, so I could be in the middle, get something good, and then I could crap it into Stratos because I hate Stratos. That's the only thing I could think of because I was like,
he clearly doesn't have having Stratos' lips sewed to his ass. That's what it says about Joe. Just
there. Go ahead, Nathan. You answer that.
I legit don't have an answer for that.
That's okay.
I mean, I would probably go more the avenue of Tyler's answer as opposed to Joe's. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
Next question.
Joe went the dirty route. I kept it clean and tasteful.
Yeah, no, that's good. I respect you for that. I guess I had to answer it that.
Perfect.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I try. Alex Jones says 2 questions. What are your thoughts on the new vintage He-Man figures? Well, Alex, we basically just said that, so we answered that one for you. But the second question.
All right. The second part of this question, we can make that quick and cut and dry. Joe, go ahead.
It'll be quick because, if I was to do a show on it, because I could really dissect what he's asking next. And it would be with logic. But
we don't need that.
What do you think of the new She-Ra cartoon? I don't like it.
Just direct him towards the episode you guys did on it.
Yeah, because believe me, after seeing season 2, all of it, there's even more things really I could dissect, but I don't want to do it in this episode. Next week, I might actually say, because people might wonder, what are you talking about? But let's just say the character of She-Ra really is irrelevant in this new cartoon, meaning she's rarely ever addressed as She-Ra. She rarely ever appears. She almost has no presence. It's like she is a secondary character, and everybody else takes the forefront. She barely appears in the episode. She barely does anything. It's like this show could exist without She-Ra. And when she is She-Ra, they call her Adora. Even the Great Rebellion, any of the evil warriors or the Horde, they still call her Adora. It's like, then her presence is meaningless. It's such a disrespect to this powerful warrior that's supposed to be there to save the day, that when you're in trouble, you're hoping she comes to you. And when Adora transforms into She-Ra, it's this magical moment that's unforgettable. You don't even feel that in this new cartoon. So, but I'm done. I won't see no more.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Joe's response from that when I go to add the the music and send it off to Doug to be posted on Podbean or whatever, I'm just going to take that segment right there and I'm going to upload it to my own link and just put it in the description of every show. Just be like, here's our thoughts on She-Ra, and also
just like I said.
There we go.
Yeah, that
So-
covers me because I didn't watch season 1.
Yeah, Tyler didn't watch it.
16
Yeah,
minutes
exactly.
of that.
I like it was bad, and then the breaking point for me was the prom episode. I still powered through, but man, that was tough. That was
And let me
tough.
just say, for anybody who's ever wondered about this, yes, we hate it. Does that mean we're sexist or racist or some nonsense like that? Hell no. If you like it,
No,
does that
because
mean
we
you're an
wouldn't be
idiot?
here.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're
If
saying,
they
yes,
like it.
if you
Yeah.
like it, but we are going to say it's a shitty cartoon.
Yeah,
For
more power
kids
to them.
or
Like I said,
adults or whoever, for this property, it's a shitty cartoon. But that does
Yeah.
not make us think less of anybody who likes it. And
Exactly.
we'd expect
That's
you
what's-
to not think less of us because that's our opinion.
We don't
and
like
we're not
it.
coming after you for it.
I mean, I
And
think
that's what I
less
said.
of
If anybody
both of
does-
you anyway. It doesn't.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
we're not
I
on trial here
appreciate
for that. We're not addressing Nathan's opinions of us. You know.
But I
Being
do.
at the
You
I
start-
guys
respect
suck.
anybody that
I am
if they
outta
like
here.
it. But I do. I respect anybody that likes it. If they like it, that's great. I'm
Yeah.
just giving my opinion. Like
Yeah.
I said, if you like it, fantastic. I just gave my honest opinion. But okay. Kyle Kendall says, how do you feel about the new Origins line, or how do you feel the new Origins line will mesh
People just
with the
talking as if
vintage?
like we had no idea we were going to cover this tonight.
Wait. No, hold up. No, Kyle Kendall said, how do you feel the new Origins line will mesh with the vintage line? As a vintage collector, I won't be buying new versions of my existing characters, but I am hoping for 5.5-inch releases of characters that never made it into the vintage line, like Slamurai, Lizardman, Plasmar, Strobo, Strongarm, Lord Grasp, Count Marzo, and Geldor. Those are all fucking awesome choices, by the way. I love every one you just said. I'd buy them all. But I think they'll mesh pretty good. Of course, I'm not going to display them, vintage ones, but could they, mesh with their? Yeah, of course they can. I know that it might look a little different or a little slight crumb taller, but I think they'd fit fine. But I understand what you mean. Somebody might not want to get every damn vintage figure we've already had again, but
and
I like his
I'd like
choices.
to think that I know Mattel's going to want to generate the general public to get reintroduced to this if this movie actually gets off the ground or whatever. But you also, there's a lot of people who still are not aware of He-Man still being in existence. So I get a He-Man sculpture, but for God's sakes, give us a Prince Daikon or a Lord Mask or Lizard Man in the mix. And I trust the Four Horsemen to kind of throw out these ideas. Like, come on, Mattel, let's not do the same, first wave of the original line again. Let's throw in a couple of curveballs here to get the hardcore fans who've stayed with He-Man all this time to not make them feel like you got to buy the same damn 10, 12 figures over and over again. And that's pretty much it. Just a little bit more articulation and a couple of extra perks. I have firm faith that, they'll throw us at least one curveball to let us know, hey, it ain't just about re-releasing these figures with the more articulation. We would get a Lizard Man that looks like it fits with the vintage line. A Prince
I think we're
Daikon,
going to get them.
so
I really do.
Yeah.
I think we will get some of that. I really have faith in that, especially if these sell well, which by the response of just when I post on my wall, when people look like they lost their minds just in excitement, and that's just on my wall. It's not including all the damn pages that do it. I think this line will sell very well and will get us the characters that we didn't have in vintage form before. So it would be great to see an Icer and a Shakoti and Mask and all of them in that stuff. I'd love it.
A lot of possibilities. So I think Origins could be like an overall name for this, like it just all encompassing kind of thing. So that's kind of what I feel like they might be going for. But
okay,
I sympathize.
All right, and our buddy Grimbot had a question. He said, I got a question. And I think it's at first a mess around with this question, then a more serious. But he says, are you saddened that Mattel isn't giving He-Man a Netflix-style makeover with the Origins line? No, we're not saddened at all.
No.
We're over ecstatics. But thanks for that.
I
Then
just
he said,
kind of feel like there needs to be a resurgence, or someone has to come along that says, enough of this happy horse shit with bubblegum coated all over it. We need a serious take on this stuff. And as of right now, that's not what's popular, or at least what they're telling is, people don't want the serious stuff. So I just kind of feel like all the kiddie and happy and light and fluffy stuff, that trend has got to go out before I feel like a legitimate shot at He-Man again can be like treated with the respect it deserves, because otherwise it's going to come out with something where people are going to talk themselves into liking it when they're real deep down like, oh my God, I don't want to admit that it sucks, but if I don't, then we won't get anything. And like, don't believe in that stuff. So I'm glad nothing is happening right now, because I had no faith in the movie or anything else for that matter.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how
anything at all. Tyler has no faith in
anything. Well, because no one's actually going to give it dignity. It's just they hire just the laziest hire guns they can just to come in, collect the paycheck. Here it is. I do it for free. Hire me. I'll do it for free. I will give you quality. And when I prove myself, then you pay me. But.
All right. Well, we got a lot. It seems like so far there's been a lot of questions that have popped up, and then we'll eventually get to the chat room stuff. But a lot of the questions that were asked online on Facebook seemed like about this line. But Grimbot also said a more serious question: what would you prefer in Origins line? A multiverse and story set in various continuities, thus opening doors for all sorts of variants. A Frankenstein story like the classic Bios, story set in one continuity. If so, which one? I mean, I like that question. And what's weird is I don't know if you're referring to if they do mini comics, Grimbot. I didn't know if that's what you meant. I don't know if that's a context. But, I mean, if there were mini comics, I would love something and I'm not going to sit there and say like Alcala. I would just like something to where at least it's what we recognized and knew with at least if there's continuity, acknowledging things that happened in a previous comic, but not to where I gotta buy Geldors to go to Icers, to go to Shakotis, you know what I mean? Like if they keep introducing characters, I don't want it to be one flowing story where it's like picking up where it left off. Have your one-off stories for each of these characters. Have it set in just one kind of universe, but acknowledge things that happened in the past or other issues. At least no reference. You know what I mean? Not to where I had to read that to understand this next one. But I mean, I like that question, but yeah, it would be just great just having one kind of continuity and one little kind of universe of stories. But yeah, I don't know if you want to expand Tyler and Nathan.
I'm fine with like bring in a Ceratus and a Lord Dactyls in the same scenario where you've got a Slamurai and the Strobo. I don't want to feel like, except King Grayskull, he does not exist, and nor should he ever exist. Hero is the definitive ancestor of He-Man and the source of Grayskull and He-Man's power. End of story. That's my only gripe. Anything else, throw in. Just as long as Hero is acknowledged as the sole source of the power of Grayskull.
Wouldn't it be a kick in the nuts if what if the first character they showed at San Diego Comic-Con single carded was King Grayskull in vintage style? I think Tyler, he's like, that's it, I'm done.
I think I would have to have just for like the YouTube views alone, just have a public hanging right here, just
public hanging. Or you got one sent for free, and for whatever reason you set it on fire like you did for that one comic a couple years ago.
I don't see that happening, but I mean, come on, even Val Staples admits that character sucks balls, man. It's just a terrible character. And
we're gonna have a whole podcast of
Val, comes out and he's just like, come on, dude, it's a lame character. That's saying something. So,
all right. This one, I think we might even be able to get Nathan into the mix here, because Jeff Chiapello, he has one that's kind of a statement that leads into the question, but he says, Joe, I think this new reveal has turned the Masters of the Universe community on its head. Mattel making Masters again, Origins-inspired figures, the preparation for the 2021 movie figures, the possible discontinuation of Classics line, the possible discontinuation of the Filmation 5.5-inch line, and the possible discontinuation of Super 7 putting out any Masters-related products besides Reaction. So it leads into a question. He says, what are your thoughts on Mattel? For example, he said they left the Masters community high and dry, and Super 7 came in and kept providing collectors with more He-Man. Then once the heavy lifting of Snake Mountain is done, Mattel seems that there's still a market and comes back and takes Masters back from Super 7. Well, I don't really know how if it's really that's how it went down. I understand what you mean, but
this stuff happens way in advance. I mean, look,
exactly.
Mattel has been trying to get back into this. We're talking at least 3 years, if not more. So
I think the movie has really generated wanting to possibly say, okay, maybe we could get this going again, how it used to be, and like you said, continue with vintage style and classics. I don't think Mattel is not going to be done with classics. I doubt that's going to happen. I believe they're still going to continue the classics.
Well, hey, they made a point that they're putting their stamp on this PowerCon exclusives. So, I mean, if they're saying that they're releasing those, I think it's safe to say that they might be the ones continuing classics. Maybe not in as well. Hell, you know what? At this point, it kind of feels like we can't really make any kind of legitimate guess because they may be continuing classics and this new vintage line at the same time. So.
Yeah,
Mattel, just go ahead and start re-releasing all the classics again. That way, I don't have to pay ridiculous prices on eBay for them anymore.
Don't even say that. Okay, well, we have 3 more questions.
Just, hey, Mattel, if you're listening, you probably got like a warehouse full of these things. I just start sending them to me.
Nathan wants some stuff cheap. He's tired of eBay prices. Yeah. But before we get to now the fan questions here in the chat room, we have 3 more ones on Facebook. Aaron Voorhees says, okay, brother, not sure if anyone's asked this one before, but how and when did you guys all meet and decide to start doing the show? And do you guys ever actually meet up in person to hang out, or do you all secretly despise each other? He says, I'm now picturing Tyler after the show goes offline, punching and breaking stuff, screaming, that damn Amato. So, well,
we have met Joe, but fortunately his face was pixelated and his voice was dubbed over. So it was like watching like a classic Unsolved Mysteries or an episode of Cops. Take your pick there. So it left a little to be desired, and he left us with the bill at McDonald's that we already said we were going to pay for, but he just pretended like he was going to dine and dash. And we're like, Joe, we'll pay for it. You don't have to go all this route. And he's like, no. Seriously, I have to go to the bathroom. I mean, his car took off, so.
No, well, we've never, I've never met Tyler or Nathan. Of course, they're childhood friends growing up, and of course, they're still friends, so they always see each other. But as for how the whole thing with the podcast, that's early on with first Tyler and I getting in contact early on through Facebook, him being a part of Global Masters, and eventually came the opportunity to do another podcast, which came, is now Fans of Power. And then when Tyler and I were like spitballing one day and he was talking about, it'd be great to do other types of podcasts, talking of other things. And Tyler came up with the name of Beyond Retro for talking about, games, movies, cartoons, everything. And he said, my buddy Nathan, he really loves this stuff too. I was like, well, bring him aboard. I said, he can come on in. Let's all do this. And eventually we all started doing Beyond Retro. And then eventually Nathan kind of started, seeping in here into Fans of Power a little bit, like just seeping, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but, they were, that happened because Joe's like, you need to be on the show more. Be on the show more. I'm like, okay. So then I started popping in towards the tail end, which I still mostly do. And now they're like, well, here, you got this book and let's just do mini comic reviews and you can hang out on the commentaries. I'm like, oh, all right. Basically, it's just when we get off the air, Joe threatens to like send anthrax to my house or send out. There's like a car that's sitting outside right now. If I do anything wrong, these guys will bust in and just I'm done if I don't do anything right. Oh, Joe, you got your book.
Speaking of the book. Yeah, I want to thank Danielle. I just want to say it came in the mail. I appreciate this thing is awesome, this compendium book. So you just talked about how, hey, you got the book. So I want to thank Danielle. This is freaking awesome. God, this is a big book. But I love it. So I appreciate it and thank you. But if we all got in person and met, of course we'd all get along. We don't hate each other.
We want to meet Joe. We just want to throw that out there. We want to meet Joe and see him in person, but we don't know how Joe's going to. I imagine he'll still wear the mask. There's just no way we'll see his face.
That'd be strange. I don't know if I can get to the airport like that and how that'd work, but
clearly we would have to go to Joe because Joe's too cheap to buy a plane ticket to Virginia or drive or anything.
No, that would actually be fun because if Joe is telling the truth about Parts Unknown the way that he tells it, then I think we're in for a good time.
Hell yeah, that's
I can see like an 80s style poster, all 3 of us in the car, like leaving, Parts Unknown behind us, and you got like crazy women and guys with guns and biker gangs all chasing after us, and Joe's at the wheel.
It would be like the movie The Warriors, essentially.
Yeah. There's a movie poster for you. Yeah, the Fans of Power.
Oh my God! So someday,
can you dig that?
Jobber DG says Nathan the third wheel. Precisely.
On a tricycle, because you need 3 wheels on a tricycle there. And there's nothing more comfortable than a tricycle.
That could work.
Sure.
In terms of like a bike.
Anyway,
I'm trying to make Nathan feel better about being called the third wheel here.
I'm all right with it.
No, he ain't no third wheel. He's not third wheel. But all right, he's not exactly. This is a strange outing. Okay. Alex Jones said another question after reading Aaron Voorhees' question. let's say you all meet up with other podcasters like Penny Dreadful, Val Staples, Eamon O'Donoghue. Oh, he spelled it different. Well, Eamon O'Donoghue, Emiliano, and Jeremy DeWitt. And if you had a fight with them over something, what would it be and why? And to each of you from Fans of Power, if you would fight, I think that's what he's saying. Just asking in a style like when comedians roast each other. I guess he means like if roasting, like if I was to fight any of you guys in a roasting, like just being humorous. Okay, Nathan, I'd probably like to just grab him and choke him until he blacks out, and then maybe I would tape his ass to a chair, tape a Super Nintendo controller to his hands, put it in Batman Returns, slap his ass awake, and make him play Batman Returns until he actually beats it because he sucks. I was like, how can you not? How can you not
See,
beat Batman
now you guys are starting to get a glimpse of the Joe Amato that I have to deal with lingering around in the chat room while I'm drunkenly sitting here trying to play video games and interact with everybody else and have a good time. And Joe's just busting in. He's like, you suck. You need to do this better.
He does.
Jackass.
Like, I just don't get it. It's like, how can you not beat Batman Returns? And he plays these other games, and he literally has the attention span of a gnat. It's like he'll play it, and he's doing it for 2 minutes, and maybe even less. He's like, okay, new game.
I'm drunk when I do it. Let's get you.
Oh, you did it when you were even sober.
Let's get you drunk and have you play video games. I'm sure you wouldn't be good at it either.
Have Joe like eat some of the spicy stuff and tell him he can't go to the bathroom. Like that would be the equivalent of Joe being drunk. He just can't go take a big shit, you know.
How about that? See, this would be interesting to roast each other because I guess it's all in fun. Tyler, I guess I'd just punch him in the nuts 3 times or something until he bends over, so then he can bow before my greatness. Maybe, I don't know. Remember, this is roasting, I guess.
Yeah.
No,
Joe, that ain't
terrible.
roasting. That's just trying to fight each other, literally. So believe me, you would not get 1 foot. Landed on my nuts. I'll just tell you that right now. So,
see, here we go. See, we're doing a roasting of each other. Danielle.
I mean, it would be kind of hard to land a kick on his nuts when he doesn't have any.
Oh God! See, you're roasting him back now. This is getting terrible. But this is awesome.
It says that when they're just made of pure gold, so therefore they kind of transcend, the modern man's balls. So in that sense, I don't have. Now
I just imagine Tyler just going to Sherman-Williams and buying some gold paint, and then he just squats over and he's shitting over a hole and just dumps his balls in there.
All right,
it's getting weird.
This is crazy. It's a crazy question, but it's fun. I love all you guys. You know that this is just fun, anyways. I wouldn't attack Danielle. Maybe we'd have a verbal argument. Maybe I'd scream at her saying, Jesus, Danielle, I've been trying to get the meteors in the line for over 10 years. I've had almost 3,000 signatures to support having meteors be remade. You have connections. You can't get it done. What's going on? I don't know. Maybe we'd have a verbal argument. Val, hell, well, that's a good idea. Maybe I would say, Val, I've always wanted to share all the knowledge of Masters of the Universe with you, and then hit them with this fucking book right here and knock them out. So that's what with Val.
There was no roasting going on.
Yeah, this is not roasting.
Yeah, do you understand what roasting means?
Well, he meant he said for kind of like a fight. So he said a fight roast, not a attack roast with words. So that would be that.
God, Joe's just wanting to fight people.
I don't think Joe's ever watched a roast before.
No, I don't think he has either.
Well, let me finish. I'm just doing a fighting roast, I guess. I think he meant a fighting roast. I know a comedy roast. Amen. I would probably just the only thing I would do is I would
be very specific with your questions because we can't have Joe just.
Joe's getting worked up. For Eamon, I would just take that battle cat mask and I would tip it way down because I know that, or not down, up, because I think that drives him insane. That would be my way of just driving him insane. That's the way I guess my fight would be with him. Emiliano, we're both Italian, so we got bad tempers, even though I don't think I really do. But
he would just be like, "Hey, you want to team up?" It would honestly, it would be easy fighting Joe because all you got to do is just tear the paper mask off his face, and then he's gonna and then run away. Yeah.
Me and Emiliano, we'd have a screaming match of who the best artist is. Like maybe he'd say Earl Norem, I would say Gino Diachile. I was like, how could you not support a fellow Italian? And we'd start getting into a fight. I'd get so upset. I'd grab my paintbrushes that I customized with and shove them down his throat. So that would be that fight.
Vince Russo booked this wrestling match that Joe's doing here.
And Jeremy DeWitt, we both love eating a lot. He's always said if we met in person, we could go out and eat or something. So I could picture we'd probably be at a convention maybe. And I'd be going for the last chicken wing. Somebody called my name. I looked to the side and when I looked back, he would have took it, ate it down, laughed at me, and I would proceed to like punch him 8 times in the gut until he threw up. So that'd be our fight. And yeah, so that's all in fun. I love every one of you guys, but yeah, I guess that's what I think.
I feel like you really
Alex
thought that through. I don't want to beat up any of those guys.
Well,
it was on the spot.
Yeah, so you immediately, instead of just poking fun at saying I have a big ego, or Nathan drinks a lot, or that Penny Dreadful has this ridiculous affinity, like, oh, the Green Witch character, she sucks. No, Joe's like, I'm
gonna hit you with this book and stab you with my pencil.
Yeah, Phil,
he did.
Yeah,
but he did say if you had a fight with him over something in a roast style. I thought that's
not
what
like
he said.
that, Joe, he meant like arguing, like, you know.
Oh.
If you were to argue with each of us, what would it be about, kind of thing?
Oh, okay.
God,
Jesus.
Joe.
Well, let me start over. Let's go back down through the list.
Let's start. Nathan, I would just, I don't know, we'd probably argue
Joe,
about...
that was a joke. Let's move on to the next question.
Okay, Spike said, okay, Joe.
Took the fun out of that. Sorry there, bud, but Joe took the fun out of that question.
I didn't know. I thought he meant fighting.
I have no real reason to argue about or really roast any of them, but if they want to roast me or for whatever, I say bring it on. So.
Joe, if you ever thought about murdering each of us, how would you do it and why?
I really thought that's what he meant. I did not know this was his
Joe
question.
Pulls out his list, you know.
Yeah, he's been thinking he's like Steve Buscemi and Billy Madison.
People to kill. And then he sits back, puts lipstick on his mouth while he thinks about it, you know.
Let me just say, it's like I said earlier, I love all you guys and all of them. I thought he meant in a crazy fight style. So I was picturing, this was just popped up there. I don't know.
The word roast means a verbal assault, Joe. Roast, all right? The key
I think it's because I used to have anger issues growing up. Maybe that was it. Maybe I did take it physically in mind. So, all right.
That's like the fantasy, though, that Joe thinks he can just physically assault any man or woman that walks in front of him without any repercussions here.
Maybe Joe is Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, or he's got to constantly return some videotapes, and it has grape juice in the sheets.
I mean, he does look back fondly on that video store that had like the
fish store.
Yeah, the fish store.
That was a good store. Ben's Tropical Fish.
So maybe
yeah. And if somebody beats him in customs, like, oh my god, look at that off-white color, and he just crumbles, and I'm like, Joe, you okay?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh god, I can't wait to hear all the responses.
He invites the other customizer back over to his place. Yeah, and he's like sitting on the couch, and Joe's just laying down the newspapers and everything. It's like, well, hey,
you like the Sex Stars cartoon? A cartoon? He's like, yeah, they're okay. Well, let me tell you, they only had like 6 episodes, but they really came into their own by episode 4. You know,
I can't wait to see the responses now. They're gonna be like, Joe, what in the hell were you talking about?
Someone photoshopped Joe's mask onto Patrick Bateman and the Paul scene in American Psycho.
But Joe
really
would be so cheap. He would have like a foam bat and constantly hit the guy in the head, and the guy's just sitting there. What the hell are you doing? I'm
not crazy, people. I'm really not.
You bastard.
I'm not crazy. I don't have a bad temper. I guess I misread the question. Yeah, let's go to Spike
Well, I think
Thurman.
it's safe to say Mal's invitation for Joe to come to PowerCon probably won't happen next year.
He's like, my God, this guy's going to come with this book. And then if Jeremy comes, it's like, Jeremy's like, I ain't even going by that food table.
Like, Joe's going to have to be like, it's going to be like Sunday Landham and Predator, where they're going to have to hire a bodyguard because Joe is inclined to get into fights with people. That the hotel and the convention.
Yeah, there's going to be like flyers hanging up with like Joe's Modulat mask. It's like, beware of this man.
Yeah.
If you see this man, contact the proper authorities.
Oh, sweet Jesus. You're right.
All right, next question.
Spike Thurman said, okay, Joe, hypothetical situation. Oh, God, I hope this ain't nothing else. No, Netflix have just announced season 3 of the original Filmation series He-Man and the Masters Universe with James and Deucin. With James and Deucin at the helm. You have the opportunity to write 1 episode each. A, what story do you tell? B, which characters will feature in the episode? C, which new, never appeared in the original 2-season characters would you be feature and why? And then, I don't know what NB means, but he has NB before it. He says, all original voice actors are back on board, and an extensive bank of voice recordings of those talents who have sadly passed has been discovered. So anything is possible. I guess I'll pass it to you first time.
Spike's a wonderful dude. What a wonderful question that is.
Yeah, that might have been maybe targeted particularly to Tyler because he knows Tyler would love to get in.
Yeah, and it definitely wasn't me. So take it away, Tyler.
I mean, I definitely would. God, I just kind of feel like there's so many stores. I mean, I almost feel like I would want to bring in Lizard Man again and Clamp Champ, and I would make a point to bring in a lot of the characters that were done so poorly in terms of like their like Cyclone and Mossman and Spikor and Too Bad. I would do my best to make them part of the story, at least in terms of like the good versus evil, and redo their dialogue, and make them sound a lot more threatening or heroic, and make them Lizardman was fine, but like those characters that just were not given the best, I would want to change that and make sure that they're used a lot more prominently, and probably tell. God, I almost felt like it'd be fun to kind of revisit the House of Darkness again.
I'd love to see Ninjor and Scareglow pop up in an episode, since it seems like they had so many appearances in comics together. I think
Stinkor, almost because like Filmation rejected the idea of even using Stinkor, because I just feel like that's a character that was solely overlooked. So, but yeah, I think it would be a lot of fun to maybe that's. I mean, there's just so much I could do or would want to get it narrowed down to one, but I think to revisit any of Larry DiTilio's creations, whether it be Granamir Mask or Shakoti, that probably be at the top of my list. But also given like a classic one-on-one fight, with like a sword fight with He-Man Skeletor. Like Evelyn's Plot gave us a great one-on-one fight, but it would be nice to actually see like an actual sword fight in Filmation style as best they could with He-Man and Skeletor, like in the mouth of Snake Mountain or something like that. But so many ideas, and of course Spike trying to get us to narrow down to one. Spike, I can't do that. But those are some random ideas,
God, I think I would go insane. It would be awesome if we did get a Filmation style cartoon of Masters of the Universe done. I mean, we know it ain't ever going to happen, but God, if that was to happen, I think that would be something really amazing to see. So I like just the thought.
So I figured you would want to give the Meteors a much more prominent appearance.
Well, the thing is, I mean, if they were to do it, I mean, well, Jesus, you see how they completely screwed up when he had Assault in the Hive, and Comet Cat is the main one that showed. Of course, there was some dinosaurs in there, but when Comet Cat talked, God, they just. Oh, what was that voice? I mean, his voice was like a nerd. I was like, I didn't get it. I was like, why is he talking like that? But it would be great to have the Meteors shine and have a really great episode. Hell, I'd love to see Sky High, just, well, named because I named him. It's because I've always wanted that character as a figure. Oh, sweet Jesus, that's got to happen in the vintage style. They got to give me Sky High. I always wanted one as a kid, so do that in the Origins line, Sky High. I know I sidetracked there, but I'd love to see him in Filmation too. And Chris Urban joined us in the chat room, said Gandalf passed away. Ian McKellen was a great actor. Always loved Lord of the Rings movies.
I'm not seeing. I just did a Google search. I'm not seeing anything right now at all.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay, I was like, I didn't know what I missed, but okay. Well, I think we've gotten all those. Now I don't know how many things I've missed in the chat room because there might have been a lot. So
I'm gonna start scrolling through now, Joe.
I'll do one from Zentron that I see right here, and Zentron said, aside from Superman 4, what's the worst movie you've ever seen?
So that's strictly towards Joe, because towards me.
I don't know if it's the worst I've ever seen, but it's definitely the worst movie I've watched in like the last few years. But there's a movie called Mother that's Jennifer Lawrence. Darren Aronofsky directed it. What?
No. I mean, just Nathan in his pick. I just think it's funny.
Why?
I just thought it was funny.
It's a shitty movie. I didn't like it at all.
All the more reason why I just think it's funny.
Yeah, it just they tried to. I don't know. It's just that movie sucked. Anyway, you guys go ahead.
All right, mine was. I'm hoping. No, I'm not hoping. But either way, there was this movie. I don't know if it was The Dark Maze, Scarecrow 2 or Scarecrow 2, The Dark Maze. I forgot how it was titled, but it was this horror movie, and they were lost in this corn maze. Like these kids or all these people went to this corn maze in some country area, and I think there was a killer scarecrow. And I know that they did a couple versions of it, but this, I think, sequel in particular, I mean, it was just so horrible because literally they were just going through this maze, and they kept reshooting the same exact almost angles, like over, but try to show it from different spots. But you could tell they're running through the same exact spot at least 30 times. I couldn't even remember if anybody got killed. I was like, what? Are they trying to build tension? It had to be one of the worst B-rated horror movies. And of course, you know you're not getting anything fantastic with B-rated horror movies, but you at least get some kind of enjoyment. But that movie, that was abysmal. I just wish like I said, I could remember to say it properly, just in case anybody out of a weird, morbid curiosity would want to check it out. I think it's Dark Harvest Maze 2 or something, or I don't know. That's mine. But what about you, Tyler?
Well, I mean, Tyler's not going to watch that. I feel like I might have a range of what Tyler's worst movie he's ever seen is, but go ahead.
There's quite a few, but probably, I'd probably have to say G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra, because to this day, I don't think I've ever walked out of a movie theater as angry as I was that day. And I knew that movie was going to be shit, but me, Nathan, and our buddy Keith, we're all Joe fans. We all grew up with it. Me and Nathan both felt like, I don't know, dude. But we went and saw it because of that natural curiosity. And they kept looking at me because they could see this stare of rage.
That's why it was fantastic for me. Because even though the movie sucked, seeing how miserable Tyler was while watching it, made it better.
I mean, was that the first or second one? I couldn't remember.
The first one.
Yeah, Alien versus Predator would be up there too. But Nathan kept me laughing during that piece of shit. Whereas they're laughing at me, and I'm not enjoying myself at all. I was ready to fight somebody. Like I'd have come out of like Joe Amano, like me, Joe Amano. I'll fight anybody. No, you want to fight?
It's like I got no common sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so upset with that movie because I still to this day feel like G.I. to make one bitchin' movie, man. And no, it ain't gonna happen. But I was really upset. Clash of the Titans, the remake. God, it was right before my birthday. Oh, I was fierce. Prometheus, another piece of shit. But,
Prometheus is pretty bad. Alien Covenant was pretty bad.
We could give a long list, but G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra, that was something I'll never forget because I really was very, very upset that Friday. Yeah.
Okay.
I found a few, Joe.
Go ahead.
Adam Gabbard asked, "Was the coolest custom figure you saw that is not Masters of the Universe related?"
Coolest one I saw? Was that what you said?
Yeah, the coolest custom figure.
He's asking you to compliment other people's work, Joe.
Oh yeah. A Master English one time did I don't know what kind of creature it was, but he did some big kind of blobbed, hulked up creature that he did a custom of, and this was years ago. For some reason it burned in my head. I don't know if he what the name of it was that he called this thing. I just remember he showed it a lot. But yeah, John English did an amazing big blob of a creature, and if I can find that, I'll make sure I'd link it on my wall for those to see. But yeah, that was pretty damn cool. I like that one. So
there's been a lot of customs that I've seen that just actually someone took a classics figure and made like Shredder from it. And it actually looked really, really good. So that was cool.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have a tendency. The only time I ever really look to see if there's customs of things is if there was nothing that was ever produced of someone in a bigger scale. So that's when I kind of start digging around, like Snake Eyes, for example. I'm like, has anyone customized and made and yeah, there's a few that I've seen that they've taken like Marvel Legends, and that looks pretty cool. But the price they're asking for on eBay is Joe Amato customizers.
No, there are some great customizers out there. I mean, there's amazing pieces of work because that's the thing is everybody has their own eye for doing something. We can all maybe make the same kind of custom, if you will, but everybody has a different, interpretation and a different way they sculpt. So that's what makes them unique and one of a kind. So yeah, there's a lot of great ones out there. What else?
Let's see. There's a question, and it kind of pertains to. We can go a couple different ways with this. Actually, do you think all the new upcoming Mattel the Origins figures will affect the vintage and other 5.5-inch prices and their value?
No.
Well, I'll ask you guys this then to play off of that. When the movie comes out, do you think that will also affect prices of everything?
It could. I can honestly see the vintage stuff going up because here's why is I've watched as 2000X, and then came classics and everything. When more people started learning of classics, it kind of sparked their interest of those who used to like vintage again and recollecting, because I've seen in the vintage community things skyrocket in price. I mean, skyrocket. Some of the things that I got for maybe $30 are now like $350. A lot of the weird pieces of merchandise, hell, some of the little wall plaques, any of the strange things has skyrocketed. So when this movie comes out and that goes mainstream and it hits all the other millions of fans that grew up with Masters that maybe just haven't done that and collected in a while, it might spark their interest. Like, damn, that movie's cool. I like these new figures they're releasing. I want to find some of the old stuff too. I think it's going to make it climb.
That sucks. I mean, it always does. Anytime
I say temporarily. If the movie sucks balls, then it'll just be a temporary high, and then people will forget. But only if it happens, there'll be this, temporary, like, oh well, I got to charge more because there's a movie out. Doesn't matter if the movie's good or not, but there's a movie coming out, so it's either gonna, die or rise to the occasion. But maybe temporarily, yeah, there will be a high desire. The price will go up, but I wouldn't see it lasting unless the movie is well received. It would just be something that just happens for a few months. Then after that, the realize $4,000 for a He-Man with it's got missing everything and it's got skid marks all over it.
It ends up on one of those internet articles. It's like, you could be sitting on a lot of money with all your old toys, and it just shows that like a He-Man missing everything.
Toy hunter like this,
Yeah,
telling you, charge $2,000 for a bottle that's missing. Well, damn near everything, even his head. But you can get $4,000. I could turn a profit right now. Bullshit.
What do you think of the Shadow Orko figure from Super 7? I love it. To me, it makes Orko look kind of serious and cool. That was from Patrick O'Keefe.
Did those things get released yet? Or no? I'll be honest. Were those? I don't think they're out yet. But it was different because I remember I kept thinking, well, what the hell is that supposed to be? And then
I thought it was
the Shadow.
Orko. Like the Shadow of Orko. Like, to me, well, that's what I thought it was from.
I don't know. I mean, it still could be cool. It's just I don't know if that's gonna be a weird, expensive variant. How it works, I'll be honest. I completely forgot about that figure. I mean, the regular Orko just looked freaking amazing.
Well, Orko's awesome anyway. Like, there's nothing wrong with that character. Yeah. I just blame people who don't have a great memory of the show. If that, you need to go and watch like very specific episodes where Orko is very essential to the story, or even ones where he's just well written and not a core part of the story. But I could care less about that figure, honestly. Okay. I'm glad he enjoys it, but I'm like, you're not getting my money for it. I don't care.
Okay.
I think some of the other questions that are pouring in are kind of here, like at the end. I've been able to see. So, Joe, I don't know if you want to take back over.
I'll go to. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll go to some I've seen, and if I missed any, you can get it. But Ryan asks, here's a question: what is the worst piece of Masters of the Universe merchandise you've ever seen? For me, it's something I own. It was so horrible. I don't even know. It wasn't from the United States, but it was official wherever it was. It was this inflatable He-Man that was called Monster, but it's He-Man, and it just didn't have the harness. But they hold on. I'll let you guys talk. I'll grab it because this thing is. Hold on. This is one crazy looking thing.
Well, I'll just say mine was probably anything that DC's put out in the last 5-6 years. I just thought those comics were absolute horse shit, and I was so mad that I had every issue for a while because I kept thinking it was going to get better. So everything that DC's put out. That would be the worst thing that I own. Or
I got to blow him up a little bit, so give me 1 second. Thank God it's in his back and not a weird spot, but he kind of deflated. I can't even unpop that thing. Well, I'm just going to have to show you. It's this. It's this He-Man inflatable.
That's the worst thing you own, Joe?
Yes, it is.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, it reminds me. You remember Airplane? You remember the inflatable Colt? It reminds me of it, but I have a lot of merchandise I really love, but it's awesome, but it's still kind of one of the worst pieces because it's just so So weird. So
I just mentioned all those shitty DC comics that just came out. You telling me that those are not some of the worst?
Oh, I ain't gonna count that. Oh, well, yeah. If you're counting that, yes. But I mean, if we're counting merchandise and not like literature, yeah, I guess if you're counting everything, sure that. But if you're
anything that you could put on display, so I count everything from comics, books, toys, whatever. Because honestly, anything that I own that's He-Man related, I don't loathe or I feel like, I probably shouldn't have bought that. I mean, some of it I feel like it's not that important to me, but those DC comics, man. I mean, even some of those lousy 2000 X-Men, I'm not ashamed of those, but those DC comics, man, God, they'd be used better as door stoppers.
Yeah, we've seen what you thought of them, especially in a couple of those episodes way back in the day, and if people never seen that, maybe we'll have to try to link those two particular episodes, the ripping episode and the burning episode. But so I do feel you, Tyler. But yeah, this is one weird one. Still kind of cool, but it is a bizarre damn piece. So let me set him down.
I forgot that Brad Collins sent me this a couple hours ago. It's not so
much. You keep forgetting about Brad Collins.
I know. Well, hey, I remembered this time because he sent this to me today, and it's questions, but it's sort of more like trivia for you guys in a way. You guys are obviously the go-to guys for Masters, but how well do you know yourselves? What date did Fans of Power first air?
That I couldn't tell. I couldn't even tell you.
Oh, isn't that terrible? I couldn't either. I know we've been. Let's see.
I thought it was like in the winter months. I think when I contacted Joe and did
October?
the first episode of Global, but Fans of Power,
I think it's October something.
Yep, October 18th, 2015. So
okay.
Right, yeah, because I wasn't allowed on for like a few months because Brian didn't want me back on for like a few months.
And
believe it or not, we had a co-host, another co-host who did not want me on this show. People, so.
I mean, not much has changed.
No, pretty much. He just
that's how. I'm saying maybe it's me or Joe.
No, I know that. I'm saying just Nathan's just a lot more reserved about it, whereas the other guys like, no, toys.
I'm kidding. It's their show. There's also another one here in episode 75. Joe mentioned some controversial box art. What was the box art, and what made it so controversial?
Oh, I know what that was. That was that Sagittar New Adventures box art because it just looked uncomfortable. You have New Adventures He-Man in back of Sagittar, but he's supposed to be on top of him like he's riding him like a steed. But the way their faces are expressed in the angle, it's not a flattering piece, but that has to be it. Correct, Nathan?
Yep, that is correct. So, Brad, there you go. I didn't forget about you this time.
There. So I knew the one right off and the other I knew half of. At least I knew the month. I just didn't know the exact date. But yeah, thanks for that,
I didn't
Brad.
know any of it.
No, but if he was willing to go back and, obviously he's went back and listened to, because that was back when we didn't have YouTube. We just had strictly like Podbean and iTunes. And so just shows that he's, a devoted listener, even those dark times when I wasn't on the podcast. Believe me, Joe, I dare you, Nathan, go back and listen to any of those early episodes and tell me, my God, Tyler deserves an Oscar for his performance in this podcast.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Anyway.
Yeah, just give me the Oscar.
Zentron says, what do you prefer, Alita, Battle Angel, or Captain Marvel? I haven't seen Alita, but I would pick her either way.
I've heard pretty good things about that movie. I wouldn't mind checking it out.
It looks interesting. It's just, I didn't go to the theaters for it. I'm waiting for it to come out on DVD and maybe a cheap rental or something. So
Captain Marvel, I'll wait until it drops on Netflix. I'm not in any hurry really to catch up on the Marvel movies.
All right. Jobber DG. Now this one is interesting because it's something I always babble about and it pisses me off. But Jobber DG said, not a Masters of the Universe question, but why do you think NECA is dancing around making Friday the 13th figures from 7 through 10? Well, I mean, more so, it's the big question is, why won't they just make 8? I remember, and again, this was years ago, and I mean years ago when it was around the movie Maniacs were being made. And I remember sending an actual email to them and getting a response back from McFarlane, McFarlane back in the day. And they said that people didn't like Friday the 13th Part 8 and the figure wouldn't sell well. And I remember coming right back saying, even if people didn't really like 8, I said, that is one cool-ass design. It's a unique look for Jason, not only for his outfit, for being slimy and wet. His mask is yellow. The chevrons are different. I said, that figure will sell. I said, trust me, you could release any of them. And this was, of course, even before, years later when we seen Roy pop up from Part 5, which most people said, I hate Part 5 because that's not the real Jason. That figure came out and sold. I don't get it.
I don't either.
Part 8, we have every form of Jason made. Except 8. It was a good movie. I mean, but go ahead, Nathan. I don't get it.
Dude, I'm right there with you. Like, I got that shelf over there I got everybody but a Part 8. Just make it happen. Every time that NECA posts something on Instagram or like Twitter or something, I'm always replying to it, or directly. I've taken a picture of that, posted on Instagram, I tag them in it. I'm like, hey, where's the Part 8 figure? Like, just make it happen. Get it done. I want to complete it. They're coming out with an ultimate Freddy versus Jason. Like, just forgive us Part 8.
That's what I mean. And they're doing so many of the ultimates of every other version. You're right. Could you make 8? We will buy it. I have never went to the store and seen a Jason Voorhees figure from any of those companies sitting on the shelves. Usually, as quick as they pop up at the store, he's gone. I mean, he's a hot figure. People love him. And Tyler, I know he probably doesn't collect all the Friday the 13th figures, but I know he has a love for Part 8, and I know he could respect that being in figure form.
No, I don't have that desire to collect all the Jasons like you guys do, but I think it's cool that they've done that. But I think it's ridiculous that NECA has released all those shitty Alien versus Predator figures from the shitty movies that are universally loathed. And their designs are not cool at all, but Friday the 13th Part 8 has got one of the most memorable looks of Jason. I don't hear this universal bashing of the film, I just don't get that vibe about that film. So I just kind of feel like there must be somebody at NECA who clearly just doesn't like that film and just enjoys pissing off fanboys who want something that, I don't know. Look at all those like Prometheus figures and all those other like shitty like Terminator sequel figures they made. They continue to put out figures for like characters like, oh, does anybody really want a figure of this? All these peg warmers, but they continue to keep dancing. I don't get it. Clearly, somebody out there feels like they have an agenda.
I would be happy if they also went back and made like another Part 7, because Part 7 is probably my favorite look of Jason out of all the movies. And we got was that still the transition, because McFarlane was still making those when that first Part 7 came out, right?
Yeah
because I got that one, and then I got like the tall boy Part 7 sitting up
and
there.
At one time that was even the hottest one they kept redoing was Part 7 over and over and over, because it was one of the most iconic looks and people really kind of like that part, that movie, and they kept doing that over and over. So maybe someday they'll get it, but not yet. Ryan also said, my worst piece of Masters of the Universe merchandise is the mounted Battle Cat head from Super 7. Absolutely offensive. Our heroic, fearless friend would be killed as a trophy, and they cost $9,000 each. I don't know how much those would cost, but they were making some of those mounted Battle Cat heads. I can't remember the price though, but that it was a different piece. I understood the context of it, but okay. Let's see. T-Dog says, I have a question. Do steroids cause your 7-inch classics to become a 5.5-inch? Like shrinking on a wiener, huh? Hey, it could. I don't know. That's a possibility. You can see the.
I mean, that would bring you down to about the 3.25. That would take you from a classics to a G.I. Joe size.
Oh God, I was never really a fan of those figures. Don't hate me. Zentron had a quick movie quote. Cool. Can't be anally retentive if you haven't got an anus. Let me see. Can't be anally retentive if you haven't got an anus. I don't know that one. We'll have to find that out as I scroll down. Let me see. JSP. Are we conceding that he's saying, are we conceding that there really is a movie being made, or are we still believing it when we see it? Well, JSP, no, like I've always said, the thing is, when people say it's coming, it's out, it's here, yeah, you're right. I usually don't like hearing any of that stuff. And I'm still the person that says I'm waiting to see, and then I'll get excited. It seems like they're still continuing forward of mentioning a lot of Noah over and over, which makes me think they're trying something, even though we've heard nothing about, any other actors being cast, anything of a type of storyline. I'm still thinking something's going on. This is the first time I'm trying to be slightly optimistic, but not to the fact where I'm giddy saying, guess what? In March of 2021, it's happening. I'm still not doing that because we don't know if and when it'll happen. You know, all this could be happening. They could be seeing he's getting ready, getting pumped up, which he is building up, which is cool. But then what if it just said for some reason, now the movie's been canceled. So I think I'll get really excited when they say they're finally shooting and they show actual images and pictures or any footage of showing them shooting in this city and this place. Then I might even get a little more excited. But yeah, otherwise, I usually don't try to get too optimistic. Andy Kishore, thank you for joining us. But what about you, Tyler?
I mean, just think about how Universal was going to do their shared universe of the Universal Monsters. They announced Johnny Depp's playing the Invisible Man and Angelina Jolie's playing the Bride of Frankenstein. They cast them all, and guess what? It all got canceled. So,
yeah, because the Mummy did so.
Yeah. So,
their Mummy, what was it? Was it just the? What was the name of the Tom Cruise? Was it just the Mummy?
Just the Mummy. Yeah. But just knowing that a big company and big stars, A-list stars, are all attached to these movies, and they all got canned. So just because you see something announced or you see someone doing some pre-production work, until they start filling out the cast and a film is actually underway, there's actual filming going on, and then an official trailer is released, people just need to face reality. Like, it's not us just being a bunch of grumpy old men sitting on the front porch. It ain't happening. We're going by, we follow this stuff. Like, movies is part of my. It's a beyond the passion. Nathan can be a testament to that. Like, I would love to see a great movie, but until things really start really happening, and casting He-Man has been done before, and they have done a poor job at that. So, it takes a lot to impress me and a lot to draw my attention. So far, not enough has happened that makes me feel like something's really happening. Even with Mattel announcing another teaser poster or teaser look or whatever, doesn't really matter.
We won't count that. All right, Omegator joined us live. Omegator said, "Oh no, Joe has a blow-up He-Man and loose tissues next to his laptop. I'm learning more about Joe every time I watch." I wish I wouldn't have had that time to.
I kind of think we all are.
No, but I hated that time that fell. I remember when this thing fell, and when I picked up, you see all these tissues on my laptop, and I tried to explain to you guys right here. I have tissues in my mask. It keeps it off of my face so I can see. So sometimes they fall out, and that's what was happening. So there's no
or maybe Joe's putting tissues up there to prevent shrapnel.
Something good God. Let me see. Orion says, "Have you guys ever seen a ghost?" No, I've never seen a ghost. I used to be frightened of going to the basement as a kid because I thought there were like ghosts and creatures and stuff, and that's just when you get into your head and stuff.
That would be like in that scene in the It remake, like Joe's downstairs and the basement's kind of flooded.
I hated it because, like I said,
said you'll float too, Joe.
Could you imagine? No, because like I said, we had this really old time furnace that it was just gigantic, and I remember I could see the flames in it. And it's not trying to be like a Freddy Krueger movie or Nightmare on Elm Street, but it was big. And I had to go down there to get the laundry one time to bring them upstairs, and the lights weren't working. And I remember I held open the door that goes to the kitchen, and I hoped that light would carry enough. I ran. God, I was scared. So I was a punk when it came to the basement.
Tyler, have you ever seen a ghost?
I haven't, but I do believe in ghosts. I don't discount that. Hey, I love Ghostbusters.
I remember at my old place when I was living in the townhouse. I remember laying in bed, and I remember waking up. I don't know why, just middle of the night, woke up, and the way it was in the room, I have my alarm clock and everything, but it's sort of bright enough that it kind of illuminates the room a little bit. And I remember kind of setting up, and I just looked straight ahead, and I swear it looked like a person was just standing there, and I was just like, I was living by myself, by the way. I was like, okay, and I just laid back down.
I would have shit myself. I've seen something like that. Yeah, that would have been the end. I would probably had a heart attack. JD Gibson says, "Any of you guys buy Mythic Legions?" I don't. If I had the money, I would, because
I would like to.
Awesome.
I would like to. There's a lot of really cool looking ones. I've kind of kept up with that line, but just other stuff's taking priority to spend money
I just
on.
bought one. It looked, because I thought it would look really great on the shelf, but money and priorities, and if money was an issue, I'd probably buy every one of them. But it's a cool line though.
Okay. Let me see. I'm just trying to scroll. Let me see. JSP says, "Isn't shooting for the movie supposed to start next month?" I
wouldn't think so if there's no other casting news.
That's what I'm saying. You people need to stop. Just because they say it, for God's sakes, doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. It's as much info about behind the scenes and movies and stuff has been out there. Like, come on, people. I don't want this show to constantly keep turning into me and Joe telling everybody it ain't happened because of this, and this.
I think it's gonna happen, but I mean, it's March 2021. They got plenty of time.
There's time now. Like, that's an actual time you need to make a big special effects film like this. So,
we got till 2021. Apparently, March 2021. We'll see if that happens. If it does, fantastic.
I think what we should do is when it all eventually happens and March 2021 rolls around, that we somehow, the three of us, either go to Joe's or we get Joe out here and we go see it together, and it'll be.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
Joe couldn't be seen with us because Joe would have to sit in the back with his tissues and
My tissues. God, I'm never going to live that down. The Artist Devil has joined us. Hello, he said. Tags Media Animation says, Joe, Tyler, Nathan, can you guys say hi to Scott and Savannah? Well, hi, Scott and Savannah. Hope you're enjoying the show. Yep. Hope I wasn't cursing too much. I hope I didn't freak you guys out when I threatened to beat up Tyler or Nathan.
At this point for this. People, if you haven't listened to this podcast by now, then we cannot apologize for the language on this podcast. So.
I have no ill will towards Tyler.
And even if we try not to, Joe's going to slip up and do it anyway.
And he's always the first one to do it. Anytime someone says, me and my son like to watch this, Joe's going, okay, motherfucker. And, it never fails. At any time from here on out, if Joe comes on here and says, come on, guys, we got to stop cussing. Everybody who listens to this podcast live, take a bet. Immediately.
No, they do that. They say that in the chat. They're like, all right, when's he going to knock something over and start cussing? It's going to happen. We can't stop it.
It slips. I have no ill will for Tyler, Nathan, or anybody else. Earlier, that I wasn't threatening to hurt them. I apologize if that sounded.
Look how he backpedals. Look at that.
All because of some guy named Scott in Havana or Savannah, whatever. Where
Savannah.
Savannah.
Savannah, yes.
That Scott and Savannah is going to, oh my God, I can't, you acknowledge when this podcast full of these heathens who were cussing and threatening to beat each other with books and kick each other in the nuts.
That's all Joe. That is all Joe.
And choke Nathan. Yeah, that sounded a little sadistic when I said I choked Nathan.
I kind of like all the other people get off pretty easy. Like, he just wants to, choke me and just watch the life leave my eyes. That's
he's just determined to prove that he's better at you at video games. Which
well, we've already established that, because anytime I play anything, he will send me a video. Well, here's the time that I beat this game, or you couldn't bowl a perfect 300 on Super Bowling for Super Nintendo. Watch this.
Oh, Jesus, I didn't mean, and I was not trying to one up Nathan. I really wasn't. It just, he was, doing that bowling game. It's like, I never played this bowling game, so I tried it, and then I got a 300, and I was not rubbing his face in it. I just was like, hey, look, I got 300. So that's not arrogant.
I seem to kind of remember it differently, because you got to 299 about 3 or 4 times, and each time I get a call on Facebook Messenger, open it up. I'm there again. I'm shaking real bad. I don't want to mess it up. And when he would, it would kind of just be like the clown in Happy Gilmore. I would spit the ball back at him. I got a kick out of that. And then he finally got 300. And then he was like, "Oh, look, I'm better than you." That's all it is.
I was just trying to show him how 300 was possible. That's all. So, let me see. And the Artist Devil said, "Have you seen my drawings? I've seen them. Good work." Ryan said the mounted Battlecat heads from Super 7 were 8,500 each. 10 were made. Oh, so he was serious when he said that. Oh, okay, yeah. Damn, I didn't know it was that much. That's a lot. Let's see. Joe collects his homemade slime and those tissues.
And those tits.
So,
just more foul language keeps finding its way in here.
No. Zentron said, "Did anyone watch the clip?"
The deck is stacked.
Stacked against Hogan.
Watch
it, I know what we're talking about.
Well, it tags media. Joe, how close are you with the custom? As I'm waiting, I hope it's ready around my birthday, August 31st. Joe, clock's ticking, buddy.
I don't want to say his custom because I know he wants to show it and debut it. But yes, that's going to be shown for his birthday. So yeah, you guys all see that. Zentron said, "Did anyone watch the clip from my digital reproduction of the classic She-Ra episode Friendship I posted this week?" I didn't, Zentron. I didn't know you did one. I didn't know if now are you posting this on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter? You have to let us know in the comments because I'd like to see that. I always like seeing those remakes.
If find a way to like share that to the Fans of Power page because Facebook is weird with like I only see the same 4 or 5 people on there all the time. Like it has
doing a comment,
if you're not Joe Amato to where you post a picture of He-Man and it wants you to tag Joe into it, like I don't see most of the stuff on Facebook. I'll see it like days later. I'm like, where was this? Oh, it's mixed in here with the stuff that it's showing me from 5 days ago that I've already seen 50 times. So Facebook's trash.
Okay. All right. Grimbot said, I don't know if he was making reference to what Zentron said about his movie quote, if he's saying it was from Home Alone, if that's what he meant, because I didn't know that movie quote. Let's see. The ghost story should be said. I wasn't being. Oh, JSP said he wasn't being serious when he was asking that question about, hey, aren't they supposed to shoot production? And he was being sarcastic. And, yeah, we got that, JSP. Yeah.
Got Tyler fired up for nothing.
Well, as much as he listens to this podcast, he's going to come along and be like Joe, like all poly practical. Like, come on, guys. They said they're going to start filming then, so we should be supportive. Like, Joe's talking like Milton in Office Space.
At least I don't feel as bad when I cuss because Tags Media Animation says my kids are okay with hearing it. So, okay, good. I didn't feel as bad then when I dropped some bombs early. So, there. Zen Brown says, please excuse
me. It's like, ow, my freaking ears. I expect this kind of language at Denny's, but not on this podcast.
Can you just see it? Joe tips this thing over and he's like, fuck. And then all of a sudden, like any of the kids that are lit, it's kind of like Halloween 3. No, Halloween 3, they're all sitting around like, and then all of a sudden, like, they just start grabbing their heads and then.
Oh, man. Okay. Let me scroll down a little more. Zen Brown said, please excuse Tyler's horse shit. So he had to say that because Tyler likes saying horse shit. So, all right.
It's an impactful, it helps sell, my anger or my emotion about something. So,
yeah. My cousin that's the same age as us used to do that all the time. He'd walk around.
Great.
Horse shit. There you go.
Now.
Yeah. Now I'll never do it
again. Now I won't use it anymore. So.
Oh, God. Grimbot was saying no, not when he was referring to Home Alone. He wasn't referring to Zentron's quote. He meant my story with the furnace with Kevin. Yeah, I forgot Kevin had that incident too, but no, that really is true.
Well, when you said that, the quote about anals and anuses, that shows I didn't pop up in Home Alone.
No, but yeah, that is one. It was a big ass furnace, and not like how they had it. It was big. It was a frightening thing. So I guess maybe everybody experienced something like that. Everything comes from like reality. So maybe the people who did that movie experienced the same damn thing. Because back in the day, when you did have furnaces, you had big stuff. It ain't kind of like how they're all nice and efficient. They did look intimidating. Let me see. I have a question for Tyler. Oh wait, T-Dog says, I have a question for Tyler.
Who is now decided to deem me as T-Dog now?
No, T-Dog.
Oh, T-Dog is asking you the question.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
T-Dog has a question. I have a question for Tyler. Does he think Barry Bonds is innocent? I don't know what that means because I didn't watch baseball too much. Did Barry Bonds do something?
Steroids. He means steroids.
Oh,
because Tyler's
he's
big.
just razzing you.
Tyler's big.
Players who take steroids. I mean, it is cheating, and I'm not a baseball fan, but I remember being quite aware of all the players that were being outed for taking steroids and things like that. So no, but I also feel like Barry Bonds merits for what he's done in the game, even before steroids, like when he played for the Pirates and things like that. I mean, he should be acknowledged for a lot of that. Same thing with a lot of players who've been accused or have been outed as taking steroids. Steroids, I almost feel like, unless you're an actor and you're doing like how actors will gain weight or lose excessive amounts of weight for a role, like you are doing harm to your body for a role, like you're method acting. So taking steroids to kind of increase the process, that's the only time I've like, you know what, if you're doing it for a movie, not that I'm saying it's a good idea, but I get it. Whereas like anybody else that uses it, I'm like, you can do it without having to do anything like that. Just the will, the diet, and bust your ass in the gym and find some good motivation to keep it going every day. It can't be done with even like having to touch or even ask a question about steroids or anything like that. So he's guilty.
No, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's kind of funny that all of that sort of stemmed basically just from him being mad that his accomplishments to that point weren't really being recognized because other things were happening. Like, I think during the Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa, when they were trying to beat Roger Maris's record, like Barry Bonds, I think it was he was the first player. It was some sort of statistic in terms of like home runs and stolen bases that not many people had done, and he did it, and no one really cared because they were too busy. Like, oh, Mark McGuire and that. So he's like, all right, well, I guess I'll do what they're doing and prove them wrong and beat their record. So is what it is. I mean, baseball has been full of not just that, but just cheating beyond that, like the Black Sox scandal and Pete Rose betting on baseball.
Yeah.
All the sports have their skeletons and their dirty stuff. Baseball's just been unfortunate in the fact that all of that's just come out. Like football just basically has the concussion thing and like players dying early, stuff like that. But baseball's taken the brunt. NBA, not so much, other than like Sprewell choking out his coach and people getting arrested and whatnot.
And for the most part, NBA keeps a relatively clean record in terms of like, bad publicity or something like that, from stuff happening off the court or stuff on the court. They tend to be the cleanest. They don't get as much criticism as like the NFL or Major League Baseball has gotten in recent years. So
I think sports as a whole, I hate the fact that we've kind of we've put all these guys on a pedestal. Like before, guys did it for the love of the game, blah, blah, like years and years ago, and all these things were set. They're not making as much money. Like they're making good money, but not just this astronomical stuff that they're making now. Like 5 years, $320 million contracts. Like that's kind of gotten out of hand.
Okay.
Sports.
Like I said, yeah. All right, and Zentron did post in the chat. It'll be available because we don't get rid of the live chat. So he posted that link that he was referencing to about his She-Ra clip. So we can all check that out later. Any of you guys can check it out. Ryan said, question, do any of you own Bitcoin or cryptocurrency? No, I didn't even know what the hell that was.
I was going to say, you know what? I was like, I know for a fact Joe and Tyler probably don't really know what any of that is. I haven't dabbled in it.
Students tell me about that last year that worked in the dining hall that I take care of. And I don't know what the hell are you talking about. And I just thought it sounded like some like bullshit scam stuff. So
I know what it is, but I don't dabble in it.
Okay. All right, and I think we might have got everybody. That was the
last question on him. It was about Bitcoins.
Well, hey, we said ask anything. It didn't have to be Masters related.
That can't be the last question.
Well, someone else throw out a question, something that meets Tyler's requirements.
Well, just something. Come on, Beckett. That can't be the last question on our fan Q&A. Like we need something to go.
How weird would that be?
On a high note, it doesn't even have to be He-Man. Just give us something like, okay, all right, bow out gracefully on that one.
Wouldn't it be terrible if that is what we leave it out? Is that thing? It's like out of the most weird, strange questions like about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. It's like, okay.
I've listened to things like this, and if someone doesn't, if the podcast doesn't go off on like a nice, meaty question to end it, you kind of feel like,
Tyler, we got one for you. Does He-Man own any Bitcoin?
Yeah, Ryan had
That's the show. See you next week.
JSP said, "What would you do for John Irwin's autograph?" Does he even do autographs?
No,
because I think his public appearances, he doesn't
likes to make public appearances.
Yeah, he likes to stay, like you said, keep to himself. It's not nothing mean or negative, but yeah, he doesn't really do appearances or anything like that. He likes to have his nice, quiet life, and you got to respect when people. That's how people live.
But what would you do?
Yeah, Joe, you're ignoring the question, Joe.
Here's what I would do. I would go.
Would it involve money?
No, I would go where he lives. In the area that he lives, go to like find out what grocery stores, whatever he frequents. If he pays with credit card and has to sign for something, just get that autograph on the receipt and boom, done. Or restaurant. Figure out what restaurant he goes to because you always got to sign for that if you pay with card.
See, yeah, exactly. You might not want to ask me is because I might not understand the context of the question like earlier.
For his autograph.
Yeah, he would choke him. Yeah,
I'd beat the piss
hit him with the book, stab him.
Give me that motherfucking autograph, and I elbow him in his nose, and then I knee him right in his fucking gut. I snap his ankle, and then he's like, "Oh, write it for you." And I got his autograph.
Do you see like how detailed Joe just got with that in a short amount of time?
There's no way in hell I could believe Joe could do any of that damage to anybody there. You know, I mean, but Joe is going to inflict it on someone who's probably in their mid to late 70s, so he's quite proud. Snap his ankle, make him tap out, Kurt Angle style. Like the guy was like, "Here you go." And Joe's like, and just decides to attack the guy anyway. You know, like he wasn't expecting to actually follow through. Like, sure, kid, just here you go. Joe,
it would have been
let's
could have been so much easier.
And just dog piles him. You know.
Oh man, could have got it so much easier.
Tags Media Animation continuing to steal Tyler's shtick. Here's a quote. "Yes, it's true. This man has no dick. That is a softball. If I've ever heard one, but Tyler, there you go. That is indeed a movie quote. Joe, do you know what it's from? He doesn't.
Ghostbusters
doesn't.
Ghostbusters? I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes,
all right.
Okay. All right. Well, I got something. Where was that quote, anyways?
Pimping out my shtick all the time. I was like, it's getting to where, like, you know what? I'll just say, see you next time, guys.
No,
I don't even see that.
You got to keep. Zen Brown says, any update on Mark Taylor? I think in terms of like what he is putting together. Right?
No, we haven't heard anything, and Rebecca hasn't posted anything. So I mean, God, we're talking. It's almost been almost a year since Mark and Rebecca were on here to talk about the book and what he had going with Axel and everything. So it's hard to say what happened with that, but I'd like to think that there might be an update for that in the near future. But you know what? Could be anybody's guess on that one. So
yeah. Because we'll definitely have them back on when they're ready.
Maybe we're lucky. Maybe Mark got to contribute with the Origins line. You know,
that would be kind of cool. Anything's possible. All right. Well, that's a good, I think, question to end the show on. And Zentron, we never got your answer to your thing. So hopefully we'll see your answer before you bow out. And and as Grimbot said, Mark Taylor was having health issues, but he's doing better.
Yeah.
Thank God now. So thank God. But all right. Well. Shit, almost lost it. I was like, no, we can't go. I got to go one show without dropping this thing. There we go. Tyler, anything you want to recommend before this thing collapses?
No, I would do my Reading Rainbow gimmick, but it just kind of feels like it keeps dying every time I do it.
Last time it happened because you're sitting there and I guess your phone messed up and you're just like, damn it.
Well, I mean, it's not like anytime I do this stuff anyway, he ever actually gets a response or a chuckle in anybody. So,
I'll do it again. I'll make sure to laugh. Do it right now.
I don't have one right now, and I don't even have the sound effect loaded up because I'd already told myself I'm not doing it. People don't care.
Ryan said
they only care about ankle articulation and paint application, all other horse shit.
Well, Ryan said the Zentron answered earlier, and I guess the quote was from Dogma. I'd hate to say I've never seen that movie. I don't even know what Dogma is. I
haven't watched Dogma in a long time. I need to get around to doing that again.
Yeah, before Kevin Smith movie started to suck.
Okay. All right. Well, I wanted to thank every one of you guys in the chat room and everybody else to ask the questions on Facebook and other parts of social media. We really appreciate it and hope you enjoyed this episode. And, of course, hope you pop in next week. Anybody new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell so you can always get notified when we go live. So, until next time, have a powerful day.
That's right, asshole. Shit happens.
Damn it, I don't know. I'll pass it to you, Nathan.
I feel like that could have been in a variety of things.
Hopefully you get it, Nathan. I don't know what that is. And we always give about 30 seconds to the chat room because of the delay. We'll see if anybody in the chat room gets it because so far nothing's popped up, but it's almost there. Yeah, it's going to be one again. I know.
Care to throw out a lifeline on that one, Tyler? Give just a smidge of a hint.
Danny Glover says it.
Dan Glover. Can you say the quote one more time?
Yeah, say it one more time.
That's right, asshole. Shit happens.
I'm gonna go with Predator 2.
Ding ding.
Oh, okay. What part of the movie did he say that at, or to who did he say it to?
To the Predator, when he kills the Predator.
Oh, he did say, oh, okay. All right. Yeah, okay. All right.
What did he say that? In what movie did he say it? In what part did he say it? And who did he say that to?
I was curious.
And then you tell me, he's like, okay, well.
Yeah, he has all these details, and he's like, huh.
Nah.
Like, who gives a shit? No,
Joe just loves to make it sound like what you have to say is important when really he didn't give a shit about any of it.
I really did want to know. But see you guys
Nathan
next
does
time.
the same thing to me too, and he's like, cool.
Yeah. He did that last week too, I think, on that movie quote where you gave him the movie quote at the end. It was, remember when I had to bow out, and then he said, huh. It almost did. It sound like me like, okay.
Yeah, he just,
like,
it's like when Michael Myers' parents show up and they see Michael with a knife, and they just kind of, our boy has a knife and standing outside. Something's not right here. Like, there's just no genuine reaction at all from either one of you.
Yeah, I remember. That was a weird part of that movie at the beginning. But, all right, see you guys next time.